Chachamim say that if a person knew the value of his suffering in this world, he would actually pray to have suffering. And the reason why is because anytime you have a suffering in this world, it could be considered part of your kaparat avonot. Kaparat avonot meaning is that it's a replacement, like a sacrifice, for any sins you've already made. And instead of suffering in Gehenom, you're suffering here. But since it's here, the value of the suffering here is exponentially more valuable here than over there. Meaning that if you suffer here for 1 minute, it could be the equivalent of 1 year in Gehenom. So if a person, let's say for example, loses a bunch of money, that could literally mean that they took off 100 or 200 or 300 years off of his Gehenom statement because of all the bad things that he did. So the Chachamim say that everything that's some form of suffering is a kaparat avonot. Obviously some more, some less. If somebody went into their pocket and was looking to get a dime, but instead they took out a quarter, it is a little bit of suffering. Even though it's minuscule baby suffering that you have to go into your pocket again to get the right coin, it's still considered suffering, and therefore in Shamayim they say, oh, okay, let's erase an hour off of his Gehenom statement. This is to show us how Hashem is trying to constantly give us more merits. How Hashem is trying to constantly find ways not to punish us in a punishment place that no one ever wants to hear about, see, talk about, listen, or anything. But the reality is that it's real. It's a real place. It's not embarrassing you. It's not making fun of you. It's fire. So we should do everything we can to avoid going there. 1, by fulfilling our time with mitzvot. 2, by fulfilling the Torah for the sake of fulfilling the Torah. 3, stop sinning. And 4, if suffering actually does happen, know that there is a benefit to the suffering. There is a very big benefit to the suffering. And if you accept the suffering with love, then the value of your suffering is exponentially higher than if you accept them but you're still bitter.
But if you have a bad wife, I heard you go about all today,
Yes and no. I mean, it's not so simple. Meaning that if a person, like Gemara says, a person that has a bad wife doesn't see the gate of Gehenom. Now, this is not necessarily a literal statement, but in essence, what the Gemara is telling you is that having a bad wife is like having Gehenom all the time. So it's kaparat avonot every day. But if a person fulfilled the entire Torah while having a bad wife, then yes, they won't see Gehenom. Why? Because any sins they did make, she's a kaparat avonot every day. She's suffering every day, so he'll be erased every day. But if he doesn't fulfill the Torah, if he's a mechalel Shabbat, if he's a homosexual on the side, if he steals, if he does all these other things, doesn't matter how bad his wife is, it's not going to help him. It's not going to help him. But you have to feel bad for people that have bad wives, because I actually have a situation right now with somebody that I know is, unfortunately, he has a really, really horrible wife. He has a really, really horrible wife that even on my enemies I don't wish him to have such a wife. But she calls herself religious. She calls herself religious, and she is unfortunately a very, very bad person. And but there's nothing to help. It's a moot point. There's nothing to do there. It's a hopeless situation. And even though what she does is very, very bad, not only for him but for other people, you have to limit how upset you get out of it, because he can't do anything for himself. He can't help you. You feel bad for the guy. But the same token, yeah, there's some people that are just bad people. Yeah. There's plenty of them, unfortunately. Next.